Welcome everyone to the island, which for some reason is called Phillip. We're here for round 7 of the JINX Super 2 series, and with me to call all the action tonight, we've got, as usual, Dave Douglas and Matt Andrews. How you going, guys?
G'day, good evening, everyone.
Yeah, g'day, Ed and Dave. Good to be here tonight, Phillip Island. Some pretty big news. You might want to tell the audience, Ed, because this race could be quite entertaining.
Well, as for nobody knew, actually. We knew, but the drivers didn't even know. Nobody knows, but tonight is going to be a full reverse grid race, which means that the pole position qualifiers are going to be starting right down the back of the field. And the guys who finished right down the tail in qualifying are going to have the front row all to themselves. So it's going to make for a fascinating change of strategy. These guys who had their strategies just about worked out, most likely, been testing all the way through the week, are now going to have to readjust all that for being at the front or back of the grid unexpectedly, as the case may be for each individual car. So it's going to be a fascinating way to see in which way each of the teams deal with this.
Yeah, certainly, and it's as we are at Phillip Island, it's a real races track, so I'm looking forward to get this one on the way.
I think what it does mean is the opening couple of turns, which even in a normal race at Phillip Island are pretty tricky to navigate, are going to be crucial here. I think there's going to be a lot of carnage, a lot of angry drivers. Although last week they were quite clean at Oran Park, which we thought would be a pretty ruthless track carnage-wise. So never know. But who are the ones we need to look out for tonight coming from the back?
Oh, I think all the usual faces that we've seen up the front. I think, let's talk about Josh Thomas. We'll talk about Josh Morgan. We'll talk about James Ruwalt. Talk about Daniel Hederscheid or Bailey Bell, Jamie Davis, guys like that. Yeah, who are going to be.
Well,
we've seen some exciting overtaking from those guys, haven't we? And so we're going to see even more of it tonight, I think.
Ruwalt will be used to it, coming from the back after continually being involved in early shunts at the beginning of races. So he'll be one to look out for, as he's well versed in the art of slicing through a field of 30-odd V8s.
The old burn from the stern. So what we might do is we'll have a quick look at a very backwards looking inverted grid very quickly. We've got Adam Neal starting on pole position, Jacob Brewer in second place, and we've got Dean Albans and Hayden Harrison on the second row. Third row, Benjamin Siren, Stephen Griffiths, Dean Williams and Aaron Gilbert on the fourth row. Wade Michael, Tony Gafford, then John Schultz and Michael Whiting, Clay Lewis, Jamie Davis, Wayne Taylor, Jonathan Ben, Daniel Hederscheid, Peter Hunter, Darren Caldwell, Josh Morgan, Tyson McAvoy, David Coleman, Mark Duggan, Riley Curtis, Laseth Leonage, James Ruwalt, Alex Court, Cameron Veacock, Brody Scott, Marty Hanson, Simon Chadwick, Kobe Jones, Bailey Bell, Josh Thomas, Scott McCune, Chris Kerr, Dean Poe, starting out of position 37 as we get ready for a start here.
The nerves will be building up the front. These boys not used to be starting at the front, so Adam Neal, he's got the preferred line on the inside there for turn one, but the nerves are going to be building right now.
Yeah, sure will be. I'm actually going to go, if you guys watch the front, I'm going to go to the back and watch some of the bigger name drivers and see how they fare as we go through the...
Yeah. Revs are eyes are about to go green.
Okay, we are away. We're away, so we'll have a look to see at the front of the grid how it's going on. The driver's fan out behind. We've got a couple of guys there on the grass. And we've got one off into the wall already. It looks as though turned across the nose. It was one of the Dripping Paints graphics cars. I didn't actually check who that was. Didn't catch him. But Adam Neal's led into the first turn, and he has got right up behind him Hayden Harrison, who's been fairly quick so far this series, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him move up there. And we've got Jacob Brewer, Stephen Griffiths, and it may have actually been Michael Whiting that no, I don't think it was Michael Whiting that got turned around at the start, but either way, one of the Dripping Paints graphics cars got spun right across into the wall, and not a great start from that point of view, but everybody else looking like they're getting through reasonably clean.
Surprisingly clean start, to be honest. I thought it was going to be utter chaos, but besides one or two cars going off in the grass, really good start by the guys. Nice and cautious, and the people at the back knowing that you don't win a reverse grid in the opening laps. You've got to be nice and calm.
Yeah, Adam Neal's done a great job there. Nerves have been building, as I said, but he's got a nice start, and he's got out to a nice little lead at the moment on this first lap.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job, but he's coming under a lot of pressure from Harrison there behind. Jacob Brewer just sitting there in third position as well. And he just didn't quite get the ideal line out of that last tight right-hander there. And he's got Wade Michael for company all over his rear bumper. So as we come to the end of lap 1, they come out of that final right-hand sweeper onto the main straight. It's Neil, Brewer, Neil, Harrison, Brewer, Michael, Griffiths, Jonathan Ben, Michael Whiting, Aaron Gilbert, John Schultz, Benjamin Siren in that order as they all come across the line. We see lights flashing back there. Benjamin Siren copping a big headlight flashing from Josh Morgan, who's up to position 11 already. And we've actually had a couple of really big movers coming through the field. Heddershide there started 17th. There's actually sitting there big, almost 4 wide coming in there. He cops a tap from behind Heddershide. Peter Hunter got into the back of him there, and they're all over the place further back in the field. They're 2, 3, 4 wide in places.
Amazing jump from Jonathan Ben, 16th to 6th. An amazing start there. Michael Whiting up 5 places. Terrible start for Dean Williams, moving back 7 positions. But a lot of movers and shakers coming through the field. Watching Josh Thomas, boys, at the back of the field, getting held up a fair bit and a bit chocked up. The boys aren't letting him through as cleanly as you'd hoped, being our pole sitter in some regard, the quickest in qualifying, finding it very difficult to get through the field.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you got to give these boys some credit. They've been very busy. There's a lot of packs like forming here, and they've all been pretty clean, so it's good to see.
Oh, we got one sliding off onto the grass in the background. Who
is
that? Catch it.
There's all sorts of carnage.
Here's the carnage.
Baby Bell.
We've got more cars off-road than in the World Rally at the moment. They're all just sort of regaining. There's one with quite severe damage back there. I think it's Simon Chadwick. Yeah, Simon Chadwick has come out absolutely terribly from that. He seems to have caught the worst end of that particular little melee there. But most of the guys have managed to get back on. I can see that it looks as though perhaps Kerr is missing his boot lid and therefore rear spoiler. But they're still fighting it out back there. And as we've seen with these V8s, perhaps losing that rear spoiler doesn't actually affect the cars as much as you think it might.
Yeah, it was Brody Scott getting into the rear end of Riley Curtis that caused the early phase of that carnage we saw out of the hairpin there. So unlucky for the boys. Once they were turned around, the track was blocked and cars just speared off the grass left, right, and centre.
Yeah, I mean, just taking a look, we were talking just briefly about Josh Thomas before all of that unfolded. He started 34th. He's up at the 26th at the moment, but if you remember back to the only other round in which he was sort of mired back in the pack a little way, he wasn't really able to come forward as quickly as he would have liked and had a fairly ordinary finish from memory. I think that may have even been Detroit, unless my memory's failing me. But there was certainly a round where he was coming from the back and wasn't really able to make it through the big pack that was sort of sat in front of him. So I'll be interested to see if he's able to do a better job of that tonight and start picking some of these cars off. He's made nearly 10 spots already, so it looks like he's on his way.
Yeah, so not the ideal start for some of those boys back there. So now they've got some bigger gaps in between them, so it's going to be a bit harder for them to pull their way through. But we were just watching James Ruel put a move down into down after Lukey Heights. What's that one? MG, and pulled it off cleanly.
Just at the front of the pack, Wade Michael has closed right onto the back of Adam Neal for the lead of this race. As he looks to the inside, blocked by Adam Neal, though he's getting pretty squirmy under brake. Could be contact here. Neal moves out of the way. You could probably see the move coming. Probably did well to avoid it. Someone's lost it.
Ben's around.
Unbelievable. Sitting 4th, loses it. And Wade Michael takes the lead of the race.
Easily done. We're going to a replay of... It's usually you can use first or second gear here, but yeah, very taily on the exit, and it's hard to get the power down. I'd say he's just got a bit of a lock there on the outside front, which is odd for that turn. And just a slow motion replay here, and as he gasses her up, and around she goes.
And just as easy as that, easy thing to do in one of these comparatively high-powered rear-wheel drive cars. Of course, no traction control or ABS or anything approaching a driver aid on these cars. The only thing that you probably suggest comes even close to that is the fact they do have power steering and a sequential gearbox, but certainly none of the mod cons that you may find on a GT3 car, for example.
And it was such a shame for Jonathan Ben. I was up 14 positions or so leading up to that spin. He'd be absolutely spewing. But yeah, Wade Michael, great moves. He takes the lead, pulls a 1 second gap over Adam Neal already as our faster guys start to filter towards the top.
Yeah, we've got Josh Morgan, who's sitting up there in 8th position already. He started 20th, so it probably wasn't actually a great qualifying session for him if he started in 20th place. You're usually sort of expecting to see him up there in the top 1 or 2, and certainly if he's starting 20th, that means that's around about mid-pack, so he would have qualified around about there. But certainly the cars in front of him are much slower than they would have been had we been running a conventional grid. So he's up to 20. He's up from 20th to 8th position at the moment. And of the guys that you'd probably say are the established leaders, the guys that you'd expect to be coming through the front, he's probably best placed at the moment, I'd say.
Yeah, he's looking good as he goes through the field. Just having a look back in the pack, Peter Hunter, who was sitting nicely in 13th, lost the rear brakes heading into Honda hairpin there, and no one else getting involved, but losing a ton of positions, and will now find himself at the back of this pack. Unlucky there.
Whiting actually just gone off the track too, by the looks of it there. Just saw him breeze past on the screen there in a Fishy Motorsports car, just on the exit of MG. Just dropped a couple of spots.
Yeah, he was 5th, wasn't he? Prior to that, and now he's all the way down in 21st. So certainly something's going to ride there with Michael Whiting. If he ran off the track, that would certainly explain the drop in positions. But he'll regroup anyway. He's had a fairly up and down season, you'd say, so far, Michael Whiting. He's had some rounds where he's got mixed up in other people's messes, and he's had other races where he's done really, really well and come away with the top position. So he's just going to have to keep plugging away there and see if he can recover from that. Maybe pull a little bit of clever pit strategy or something like that to bring himself back to the front.
Well, we've got a couple more off down at Honda there. We're actually going to go to a replay. Jacob Brewer, by the looks of it. Oh, he's got a bit sideways through there, and then looks like it's probably just... Oh, no, actually, he's been hit.
Big wreck in front of Jacob, though. There were cars getting sideways. It looked as though one of the Dripping Paints graphics cars, it's Jamie Davis, actually. Jamie Davis got together with... while Brewer was sort of gathering his car back up, the car in front of him, Peter Hunter, has tried to dive down the inside. There's been a little bit of... I think Davis has got a little bit sideways, and yeah, it was actually Davis. He's got on the throttle, got sideways, wasn't able to gather it, and he's clipped across the front of, I believe it was Hunter, and gone off into the tyre barrier.
It's all going on out there at the moment.
Yeah, Adam Neal's had a run off as well. So Jacob Brewer, Adam Neal, all these guys who are getting their big chance in front of the field are having their issues and falling back down. So unfortunate for those guys. They had the chance of a lifetime starting on a reverse grid, starting right up front. But he made such a good start, didn't he, Adam Neal? And then unfortunately he's just had a little bit of an issue. Now he's all the way
there. He actually got punted. He's been turned down at MG and lost all those spots. So he's right back in the pack now.
It was Josh Morgan as well, we were talking about earlier. It moved up about 15 positions, got caught up in that incident earlier at the Honda hairpin, is now sitting way down in 20th position. And another spin in the background. Yeah. Hedderscheid. Oh, he's bouncing off 3 or 4 or 5 different cars. It's bumper cars back there with Hedderscheid.
Somehow kept it on the road and straight.
He's missing his boot, but he just bounced off about 5 different cars and he's still going.
Well, that's not the first time we've actually seen Hedderscheid driving around with a heavily damaged Mustang, is it?
No.
We saw him a couple of times wind up with that sort of thing going on, so it looks as though it's going to be another one. But it almost looks as though nobody wants to win this race at the moment. Everybody who's sort of getting a golden opportunity or making their way through the field really well is striking some sort of trouble. And Wade Michael's sitting out there. He's 5.7 seconds out in front right now.
Good lead.
Yeah, as we speak, our biggest mover on green is Kobe Jones at the moment. He's up 2 positions, and he's on the back of James Ruwan at the moment. So we'll see how his progress goes. He's definitely the man on the move at the moment, and getting a driver right on board with him right up behind him. But decides not to look down the inside. It's tough to do there. Need 2 to tango through there, but next opportunity will be probably down at the Honda hairpin.
22 positions in 8 laps. Are you serious? What a drive that is from Kobe Jones, making huge gains.
Yeah, he certainly has, hasn't he? It's almost a quiet achiever there for a while. He's got a little bit of damage on the front of that car, but certainly nothing like what we're seeing from some of the others there. So he's up behind a quick guy at the moment. He's up behind Ruwalt, so you'd imagine that job of getting by is going to be a little bit more difficult to get past Ruwalt than it may have been, with the greatest respect to some of the other guys, to actually get round him. But yeah, he's certainly Jones putting him under a lot of pressure at the moment, and you kind of get the feeling that it's going to be a matter of time before Jones actually gets that move done. But Ruwalt's certainly not going to be wanting to give anything up at all. He's come through himself from 26 on the grid to 9th, so we did make mention at the top of the show about how used to the fact he is about coming through the field, and he's certainly doing a great job of it there.
Just having a massive battle here. We've got Bailey Bell looking up the inside of, was it the Sith? And he's actually run wide there. I don't know if there was contact in the middle there. I was too busy looking at the names, but Bailey Bell and Michael Whiting having a hell of a battle here back for 20th position. I'm just going to get a replay actually up here. So it gives Jonathan Bennett hit. The Sith gives Jonathan Bennett hit.
Whoa, Whiting oversteered. Whiting's gone. Whiting is gone. He's come out of that last turn, put his wheels up on the grass coming out of the last turn, and spun it hard into the inside wall. So
yeah, there he is,
Michael Whiting, he's fairly well. You'd probably say that he's done.
He's got a replay. Just get to one wheel on a dirt there, and he's tried to save it. He's done well not to come back across into the other cars there, and sort of just ended up in a pit wall there, as you can see on the replay there, slow motion replay. Big hit on the front end, and yeah, that'll be almost race done, I reckon.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the move again now, so clearly intending to carry on, but I can't imagine that Commodore is going to be handling anything like what it was doing at the beginning of the race.
Just looking at a monstrous battle pack forming behind Benjamin Siren in 5th position. Siren, Caldwell, Coleman, Gaffer, Ruwalt, Jones, all in a big line astern. I could see this ending interestingly, huge dig on the inside. The double move up the inside. What a move. Harrison losing 2 spots in 1 corner.
Yeah, no, he's done very well there. He sort of, it was a more of an impromptu move there. I don't think he was going to look. Yeah, sort of just happened for him and opened the door and got it pulled up and job done. Yeah,
one very angry looking battle pack, this particular one, isn't it? Loads of guys trying to force their way through. I mean, there's going to be frustrated drivers there that their good qualifying efforts have gone unrewarded with that surprise reverse grid. And these guys all in just this massive angry train now. There's panels being bumped, there's bumpers being bent, and these guys all over one another trying to push their way through to the front. And equally, the guys at the front trying to make the best of a situation they didn't expect to be in, starting right up front in this race. But I think we see Gaffer having a bit of a look down the inside there of Hayden Harrison. Is he going to get that done? Looks as though he is, and it looks as though Ruwalt might try to follow him through. Wasn't able to get that done. Harrison getting it all crossed up, coming in there desperately trying to keep some sort of overlap there on Gaffer. He hasn't managed it. Now he's going to come under threat from Ruwalt as well, as they funnel through the fast sweeping turns of Phillip Island. And of course, all the time, James Ruwalt has got Jones, as we mentioned earlier on, in his mirrors, just filling the mirrors of that Mustang.
Yeah,
these are the 2 guys.
Oh, there he goes. And who's that? Kobe Jones is going to try and follow him, but he holds on the outside there. A bit of contact. Let's slow each other up there. So Ruwalt did eventually get it through, and Kobe Jones on the outside now, but looks like he's going to get that job done around the outside too. And done.
Yeah, there he is, slots in front, so it's another position for Jones, another position for Ruwalt as they continue their march forward.
Jamie Davis with a drive-through penalty from race control. One of our championship contenders sitting down in 31st position and with a drive-through penalty. So this reverse grid, you know, it's these types of races can really throw a spanner in your championship, because if you look at the likes of Jones, Ruwalt here, they know it's just about maximum point gathering, and someone like Jamie Davis, 31st, and with a drive-through penalty, that is a huge knock on his championship.
Josh Thomas, 3 wide into the Honda here, makes the move. on Alex Court and the 24 car 024 of Dean Williams. What a move. Gets it done cleanly too. Well done, boys.
Yeah, I must say, if you look at Josh Thomas's car, I think we're getting a little bit of an idea about why he's been as dominant as he's been in this series. I mean, he's come through from the back. He started 34th. He's now 15th, and there is not a mark on that car, as far as I can see. It's pretty much one of the only cars in the field, I think, that's carrying absolutely no damage. And the car behind of Alex Court being another. They've managed to keep it clean when so many guys around them are banging off each other and damaging the car and therefore hurting their own performance. And Alex Court actually, I think, the first to blink out of that lot, heading for pit lane.
Yeah, interesting. I just half expected Ribold to come in. He likes the early stop, but I think it's still, what are we working, lap 11, so we're still a little bit too early, but I mean, I've been wrong before.
It looks as though Court, the only one who's elected to pit this early on, certainly intentionally. I'm sure we've had a couple down for repairs. But everything looks as though it's going according to plan for Court. I think he probably just wanted to get out of that big, angry pack. He could probably sense a little bit of trouble coming, as there had been up and down the field so far. So he's just dropped off the jacks and he's on his way. And we'll see if he's able to make use of having that clear track and make a net gain at the end of all of this.
And Josh Thomas picks another one off down at the hairpin. Who did he pick up there? He picked up Mark Dugan down the inside there, rugged.
And that's where, we were just talking about pit stops that are coming up. I mean, the likes of your Ruwald Jones, Josh Thomas and things, that's where you make huge ground in a reverse grid. Do you stay out longer and get the open track, or do you try and do the undercut and make those positions? So even though some of your big name drivers currently are sitting somewhere around that 8th to 15th mark, watch them make a huge amount of gain in and around the pit stops.
Yeah, so Josh Thomas is slowly catching the guys in front of Kerry Jones. So Josh Thomas is now 22 positions up from his starting position, and Kerry's just made another one actually. I think there was a stopper there, so 24 spots up, but the cream rises to the top. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one ends. I'm looking forward to it.
So, yeah, sorry, just talking about Josh Thomas there. No, he's all over the back of Harrison at the moment. Let's not forget Harrison started 4th on the grid, and he was 2nd out of turn 1, I believe, or certainly very early on in that first lap.
Yeah,
so he's just starting to fall down a little bit. Of course, if he started that high up, it's fair to say that he was probably struggling a little bit for pace. Certainly over at least one lap in this race so far. It looks as though Thomas having a dig underneath Harrison, and looks as though he will get that move done quite cleanly as well. So one more spot for the champ.
Harrison's having another look up the inside, not making it easy.
Yeah, not over yet.
Look at him. Why not?
Why not indeed?
Side by side, see if we can go side by through. See if anyone gives up. And unfortunately, it's got to be Harrison.
Nice driving there by Harrison.
Nice driving by both of them, actually, to stay off each other, and it shows you can run side by side perfectly cleanly if you are willing to give the other guy space, and of course if you've got the appropriate amount of skill, which certainly these guys appear to.
Talking about looking forward to the end of the race, what team would be hoping that it finishes like this is the JINX shifted team, the JP Simshed cars, 1st, 2nd and 4th currently. Wade Michael with a really big lead at the moment, 7.5 seconds. Be interesting to see if he can hold on to that as the race transpires. But the JINX shifter cars love the reverse grid, 1st, 2nd and 4th, and doing well in that regard.
Yeah, we're on lap 14 now of 27, so you'd say just over half distance, and Wade Michael, as you mentioned, 6.6 seconds in the lead, and he's just extending that gap, although I think Aaron Gilbert may have just pegged him on that last lap, but certainly overall Wade Michael has been certainly looking to build that gap. And Darren Caldwell's there as well, and he's actually gotten he's actually just lapped Riley Curtis, who moves out the way. And then we can see, we look a little bit further back, we've got David Coleman there. So I actually think that Caldwell has just got that move done, and we're now looking at a JINX Racing 1st, 2nd and 3rd.
Ruwald's off. Ruwald's off the track.
Yeah, just really down to Siberia. So he must have had an excursion trip getting back on now.
Wasn't a big off. He's just run across the grass and regathered it. So
Yeah, we've got a replay up for the guys at home,
time
actually.
lost, but much better than it could have been for him.
Yeah, so just gas up. He just got up on the inside curve there, which must have unsettled the car, made a bit light in the rear possibly, and yeah, no harm, no foul. He lost a few spots, but he'll get going again and recover from that.
And he's in the pits along with a lot of other drivers.
Yeah, Jones and Coleman. Coleman in 4th, Jones in 6th, amazingly, all into the pits as well. So they're playing the mid-range game.
Yeah, we got Michael, Gilbert, Caldwell, Harrison, Wayne Taylor.
Wayne Taylor, yeah.
So many drivers in there. Josh Thomas is in there. Lots of drivers coming in the pits right now.
Apparently it's the money lap.
Must be.
Well, there was a bit of talk during the week that they were concerned about tyre wear here. So a lot of people just deciding to split the tyres 50-50. They don't want to run the tyres anymore. Geez, there's a couple of cars.
Oh, it's busy, mate.
Oh, side by side as they go down the pit lane. But all's well as end well as they're coming out of the pits. What you got to be careful here as you come into the circuit is that the cars that are coming down the main straight don't smash in your rear end as it gets really close on that main straight. Almost a huge accident as people come out of the pits.
All right, and yeah, had a couple of penalties handed out. Looks like Hayden Harrison's picked up a penalty, and so unfortunate for him. We did talk about how he was sort of dropping down through the field a little way, and that's certainly not going to help his cause at all.
I can't believe it, boys. Wade Michael has just spun it at Honda hairpin. The effective leader of the race has gone wide onto the grass under the brakes. Not a full spin, but probably costing him that lead that he had, probably around 6 seconds. And that's not what you want as you come out of the pits on cold tyres.
Well, we've seen that a little bit so far this series, haven't we? I mean, we saw a couple of drivers in a round gone past come out of the pits and get on the, I think it was Silverstone. We saw a couple of guys get on the power too early and loop their cars on cold tyres. So certainly something that's very easy to do. But it does look now as though Wade Michael has dropped. I'm just having a look to see
he just went off the road.
Who he may have dropped behind. I can't see any of the other contenders that were sort of up fighting with him sitting there ahead of him. So he might get away with that. We're just going to have to wait until everything sorts itself out. Yeah, he's actually just regained the lead, but his lead is well diminished. He's defending now from John Schultz in what's a fantastic-looking Ford Mustang, I must say, in that paint scheme. One of the Pace Syndicate guys there in the number 78 Mustang, sitting there in second place, coming up from 11th on the grid. And, well, it's worked out well for him, hasn't it? Whatever strategy call he's made, he's done extremely well. Up there behind Wade Michael, 1 and 2. Michael.
Boys, this is going to be crazy. You've got John Schultz closing in, Gilbert, Caldwell, and then have a look. You've got Coleman, Jones, Josh Thomas. They're only 4 seconds off the lead. So this is going to form into what you called, Ed, a mega pack at Detroit. This is going to go off for sure.
I think you might be right there. I think you might be right there, Matt. It's almost going to have this kind of concertina effect right at the end of the race where everybody just kind of winds up. It's what you want out of a good handicap race, isn't it? Where the idea is that all the drivers cross the line together, and we're almost going to see that, especially amongst the first half of the field. Anyway, it seems that even if you're looking back through the field, so around, looks like Hunter around, and the 04 of Caldwell involved in that as well. So they're going to regain the track, having lost a little bit of time. That's going to promote
freebies for Jones.
Yeah, that's going to promote Thomas up. It's going to promote Jones up. And, I would say, just looking at it now, that Kobe Jones has got an excellent chance of winning this race.
Yeah, look, I've got to say I'm excited to see this battle because we got a taste of it for about 200 metres last week, and that was about it, unfortunately. So hopefully this week it's going to be interesting. The stakes are pretty even. It's going to be a good battle, I reckon, to the flag.
Yeah, this is what we wanted to see. Jones v Thomas. Thomas flashing the lights at his teammate, I believe. His teammate in front. Letting David Coleman know, move out of my way, I'm coming through. Coleman obliges as Thomas gets another spot, and he's right up behind Jones now as they close in on the lead of this race.
All right, so remembering, of course, that this is traffic affected, keep an eye on the last lap times of these guys. Kobe Jones, 1:29.059. Joshua Thomas, My apologies, 128.747. Our leader, Wade Michael, 129.5. And he's running in clear air, so that gap is closing all the time. Our second place driver, John Schultz, 130.0.
Jeez, that was tight on his teammate there.
Oh, no!
He's got Aaron Gilbert putting up a bit of a fight for Kobe Jones here, so that's not going to help him at all. And Josh Thomas is licking his lips right there.
Yeah, well, why not? There's no team orders there. They're entitled to fight for their own position. So Kobe Jones now is going to come under immense pressure, though, from Joshua Thomas. This is going to be a battle to watch.
I can't believe, he was flashing his lights at Gilbert, hoping that he'd get the easy move done. Goes up the inside, and Gilbert says, "No, mate, I'm on the podium at the moment, and I'm going to try and dig in for the next 9 laps."
Yeah, certainly. Into his right.
Oh,
It's a bit high there, man.
There he goes. He lets him through this time, though.
Is he going to be as nice to Thomas, though?
Oh,
Thomas gets the easy pass.
So he is no team loyalty there. But yeah, it's definitely on now. Thomas tucked right up under the rear wing of Jones. And we're going to get to see this battle unfold. We missed out at last time, didn't we? But we're going to see it this time.
Yeah, I'm sure Josh Thomas is looking to it as well, because he hasn't had too much issue, I don't think, so far this season. And Kerry Jones is a new kid on the block right now, and he knows he's got a bit of pace, so it's going to be good to see how it unfolds.
And what the guys in front will be hoping for is that these two guys tangle up and slow each other down. Wade Michael, John Schultz, just hoping that these guys can tangle over the next few laps and give them a bit of breathing space for what would be a pretty memorable first and second.
Yeah, just watching them now, they're still nose to tail. Absolutely nothing to pick between the two of them. And, of course, they're closing on John Schultz all the time. They haven't run side by side yet, done nothing to slow each other down. And Schultz is just going to see these guys arriving in his rear view mirror. And, of course, let's not forget, he's not got any allegiance to either of these two guys either. So he's perfectly entitled to fight for his position. Just because they catch him doesn't mean that he has to move over and let them pass. He can fight for it. So it should be a fascinating fight coming up between these three drivers for second place on track.
Geez, 9/10 faster on that lap was Jones to Schultz, ahead of him in second place. These guys are coming, and they're coming fast. Well, yeah, just remarkable looking at the amount of gains they've made. Jones, 29 places. Oh, no!
Wade Michael just ran late.
Oh, geez, he locked the rears. You see the smoke there. He's just managed to hold on to it.
Yeah, and battle has been joined now for P2. John Schultz just giving a little bit of a wag on the tail there as Jones and Thomas close right up behind that Ford Mustang there. So these two Commodores looking as though they're going to try and push away through if they can't get it done, if Schultz doesn't give way. But certainly I'd imagine that Schultz is going to fight for this for all he's worth, and why wouldn't you?
Oh, thought he was going to try a blocking move there. Swerves out right. Jones thought about putting his nose in. Thinks about going around the outside. Unbelievable. The space is given by Schultz. He's really squirmy. His rear end looking really, really loose. This is crazy. They go too wide around the last corner. They're touching. Oh, geez, I thought that was going to be huge. Thomas has the run now going down the straight.
Great exchange. It's 3 wide across the line here.
Thomas, can he take the Jones' position around the outside of turn 1?
Oh, deep under brakes in there. Good driving.
I don't know. If I was, it's good to see them all get through there cleanly, but I reckon if I was John Schultz in that position, I might have had Jones off on the grass around the outside the way he was.
He was very kind.
Classic Schumacher.
Oh, you know me well enough by Dave. By now, Dave.
That's it.
Well, we're talking about team orders earlier. Now we're going to see Jones back of his teammate. I mean, he's got plenty of time, still 7 laps remaining. What will Wade Michael do in this situation? Does he hold on for the win, or does he try and help his teammate Jones out and see if he can hold the Fishy Motorsports Commodore and get a 1-2?
You've got to go for the win here, mate.
Go for the win?
Yeah,
you've got to go for the win. You've got to go for the win. Kobe Jones is not a championship fight.
Well, the team boss behind these cameras is going to be sweating bullets in about 3 minutes.
But I mean, it's only Kobe Jones' second round. We're in round 7, so he's not with a shout the championship. There's absolutely no reason for Wade Michael to move over and let Kobe go. No reason.
Exactly.
So,
exactly right.
So I hope to see them fight for it. We all want to see them fight for it. Wade Michael, he's never going to get a better opportunity than this. Plopped in his lap by our reverse grid scenario today. Not saying that he's not capable of doing it, but he's driven brilliantly. He's managed to take advantage of that scenario that was presented to him. So, you know, fight for it, son. Fight for it.
Even
And he's gone off. He's run off onto the grass.
No way.
He's off into the grass and the gravel. That is
Oh my! No.
Talked him up too much that lap, mate.
Oh no!
You've done it to him. Well,
Wade, no.
Guess what we've got now, boys? We've got to fight for the lead. Here we go. Jones going to have a look down the inside, I think. Oh, and Kobe Jones blocks him. Goes defensive.
He had to in that scenario. If you don't go defensive certainly. There, that was all over.
Look at Thomas Gassner up out there, all sideways, crossed up. It's on now. It's on for the win here tonight.
This is 6 laps of absolute sim racing bliss between these two. It's going to be amazing to see who comes out on top.
And let's not forget that these two drivers started 32nd and 34th on the grid, now running 1 and 2, first and second. Kobe Jones going for his first victory in this series. Josh Thomas going for, well, I've lost count of how many it is now. I think it's 4th or 5th. So certainly a good incentive for both of these guys to get this one finished off and get it done.
Yeah, this is what we needed, boys. Let's go reverse grid racing every week.
And it's absolutely even too. Both drivers pitted on the same lap. No one's tyres than the other. Everyone's got the same amount of fuel. This is just driver v driver, and it's going to be great.
Should we start setting grids via a fan vote or something?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, a lottery grid.
Yeah, just draw the number. You get what you get.
This is fantastic. So where's his move, boys? I think into the Honda hairpin.
Oh, I think Jones is going to have it covered though. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's got if he can get a good enough run out of the last turn, you can dive it down the inside. So he's not far enough this time around. So Jones doesn't have to go defensive here. But if he keeps the pressure on, he can almost pressure into a mistake possibly as well. So it's going to be interesting. As he shows the nose there, but it's going to be very hard to do there. Down through Siberia.
What's always tough in these situations, you try and line up the move and watch the guy in front of you where he might be weak or strong, but as the laps count down, the pressure builds, and that's when a desperate lunge can creep into things. And this is the other area here, just over the top of Siberia down, and here he goes!
There's a lot! Oh, gee, he had everything crossed up there.
He's going at a 45-degree angle and holds onto it.
Nice.
Well, Nigel Mansell always used to say that when you catch up to a car, you have to attack them immediately. It's no good settling into a rhythm behind, because then the car in front gets a bit of knowledge about where you're strong, where you're weak. You want to be able to surprise them. Josh Thomas has been up behind Jones for quite a while now. Jones understands all the places where he's a little bit weak by comparison to Thomas, all the places where he has an advantage. Now, yes, Thomas has that knowledge as well. Kobe Jones runs very wide.
Very wide. Gee.
But Thomas has that knowledge as well, but let's not forget that Thomas is the one who's got the move to make here. Kobe Jones can finish where he is. Thomas is the one who needs to make the move if he wants to finish this race. And they're starting to get a really good knowledge of each other and a really good picture of each other's strengths and weaknesses. So the longer this goes on, the more likely that you would say that it's going to stay as is.
Yeah, certainly. And as you're talking, David Coleman in the background, he's made a move on John Schultz for third. So don't get him out if these two start bluing.
Oh, that's right. Good call, Dave. Yeah, into third place. And if these guys get tangled up, that's where you want to be, that third driver sitting in behind to take advantage. And I think as these laps count down, it looks like a tangle between these two could be on the cards.
Yeah, so last time through here, Josh made a lot of ground up through Loogie Heights here. So we'll see if he gets the same run. And if he can't have another sneaky look down the inside of Jones here, which is wise to it, and Jones just drives straight down the middle of the road.
Yeah, not this time. And as for these guys tangling, I mean, look how neat their cars are after fighting their ways up from mid-30s on the grid all the way up to first and second in this race. Neither car with a spot of damage on it whatsoever, although we did see Jones and Schultz make a little bit of contact earlier on. But I think certainly that these guys have proven themselves to be competent enough at what they're doing not to run into each other. So that's going to be the absolute purest form of racing so far if these guys are able to duke it out completely cleanly.
You know you've just jinxed them.
Oh, completely.
Yeah. Like you just did to poor Wade.
Yeah, they're both going off.
Wade Michael needs to have a word with you after the race. That's the biggest commentator's curse I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah, I haven't learned
Punters
how to
paid- It's a lot of punters paid for the tickets, mate, to see this sort of racing. So we're getting their money's worth tonight. As you can see, Jones just off the usual racing line. You sort of want to be right out there, and just a little bit defensive through there. He knows it's all on, and it's all or nothing now, basically.
Thomas is so strong out of that corner, isn't he?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of instances so far where Jones has actually locked those rear tyres under the brake.
Thomas is right up on him.
He's got a run on him out.
Close this time, isn't it? He's going to have to pick his moment though. Make sure he uses the momentum that he's got. But I've just seen Jones's car looking a little bit squirmy under brakes.
Here we go. This is it.
And James does the same thing. So we can make the switch back here sometimes. They were both crossed up there down into MG that time.
Yeah, just slight locking on the rear of that JINX Shifter's Commodore. I've seen a couple of times now. And I think that one of the recent updates iRacing has brought in has actually allowed these guys to start adjusting their brake bias on the fly. So it might be an idea for Jones to maybe just make a quick adjustment to that to try and stop that from happening.
Well, he's got it. He's in the draft here. You can see Jones running down the inside track. He's going to look, Thomas. I don't think he's going to get it there, though.
Just putting his car in the rear vision mirror, making Kobe Jones look in the mirrors, make sure he's not having a dig, trying to put him off, get him to make a mistake.
So 2 and a bit laps to go right now. We're on the third to last lap as it stands. Yeah, Thomas right in, tucked in that slipstream. That JINX Commodore is punching a really, really big hole in the air. But he's just got to... Yeah, Jones just seems wise to all those heavy braking spots, doesn't he?
He's got to pull it up.
He's got a good run out of here.
Is he going to look? He doesn't go there. So he's going to sit up high and see if he can get the run out here and maybe into Hayshed possibly. But this is going to be exciting last 2 laps.
Jones is doing a great job of parking his car just in the middle of the track.
He's doing exactly what he has to do to keep Thomas behind at the moment.
Thomas doesn't know what quite... I mean, he's going to make a move. It has to be a big lunge. We might see it here. Jones goes middle. Does the lunge come? It doesn't.
Not yet.
Sneaky look. Knows he's there.
2 laps to go. He's got to make a move.
I remember 1 year Alan Jones was doing that in a particular Grand Prix at Monza. He was just running down the inside of the same turn every single lap, and all he was doing is cleaning that section of the track off to allow him to make a big move there later on, and that was exactly what he did. I'm not sure if that kind of detail carries over into iRacing, but certainly Thomas looks as though he's just sort of testing his brakes out through that section, just testing how late he can dive into that corner, because I think when the move comes, that's where it's going to be. And if there's contact, there's contact. I think he's going to live with it.
This is the other area. He went out wide there to try and get this run out of the corner for a big lunge in a Honda hairpin. He knows this is another prime opportunity to make a move. He's got a slipstream all over him. Jones is going to go to the middle. If he wants to go, he goes to the inside. This is the move we've been waiting for.
Jeez, that's tight. Jones is going to... he's got him. That's it.
The hip and shoulder. And Jones, I don't think... Jones is flashing the headlights.
He's not happy.
Yeah, well, there's not a whole lot flashing the headlights is going to do about it, son. That was absolutely fair as it gets. But he's kind of given him the hip and shoulder, got the move done, and you'd certainly say from watching these guys for the last couple of laps, you would say that Thomas had the superior speed. So let's hope, just for the sake of this last final lap here, that Kobe's able to get on the back of Thomas again and make a race of it. But you would certainly say that what we've seen over the last couple of laps, Thomas does look the faster of the two, but let's not call it over until it's over.
I've just watched the replay back as Thomas gets pretty loose out of that corner. The replay back, I think what Jones might not be happy about there is that he had to lift off the brake pedal because I don't think if he did, I think there would have been a contact in the rear right quarter panel. I think if we talked to him after the race, he might be...
Jones is live back here. He's looking. He's all over the back of Thomas right now. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right. You're right. Jeez, he is too. They get real sideways.
Yeah, Thomas playing very, very, very close with the regulations on the defending as well. There was a little bit of a weave there. So, you're not really supposed to do that. So he's going to have to...
Jones is going to send one in. He's going to send one straight back the same way Thomas did.
He's going to have a crack here, Jones. He's sideways through there. He's going to try and get up on the outside here. It's a preferred line right now. If he can hang on around there, he gets the inside for Siberia, but very tough to do. He goes for the over and under and tries to get back up on the outside now.
This is the last lap.
This is a great exchange too. No contact this lap anyway.
Well, he's only got the one more spot, isn't it, boys? Just after Siberia into the hairpin, if he's going to win this race.
Yeah, one more opportunity. Let's see if he can get it done. He knows that. Thomas knows that. They both know that this is going to be the last opportunity down here into the heavy braking zone. And Thomas covers that inside off, as you expect he will. Might. Certainly not his job to make life for his opponent any easier. Jones gets a great drive out of the second part of that complex.
Get up the inside here.
Last turn here. They've got to come
Can
across.
He get the run off?
Almost side by side.
He's going to get a faster run here.
Oh, this is insane. Who's going to win? It's side by side.
Thomas gets it.
Thomas gets it. 0.014 of a second.
Race of the season.
That's got to be the closest, best race we've had so far this series.
That's awesome.
14 thousandths of a second. 14 thousandths of a second, boys.
Absolutely brilliant from those two boys.
I've actually got a bit of goosebumps there. That was
awesome.
Absolutely fantastic.
Even race control complimenting the two guys.
Yeah, that's
which is something you don't get often from a chief steward. But that was fantastic between the two of those guys. Fantastic exchange. We'd almost written Jones off, hadn't we, when Thomas got past?
That's right. We thought Thomas was going to drive away a bit, but he hung in there and gave another crack right to the line.
Right to the line, definitely. And, fantastic job from all concerned. So we're just waiting for the last of the drivers to cross the finish line now until we get a full correct finishing order for you, which we're going to run through fairly soon. But, that was absolutely brilliant. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, so we didn't really, after about the pit stops, we didn't see too much of what went on in the back of the field. Apologise for that. It was just so gripping up at the front of the race. But some really great moves through the field. Marty Hansen, 30 to 13th. Obviously our top guys as well. Dave Coleman in third position, making up 19 spots as well. Commendable. But yeah, great stories through the field and fantastic, what would you call it? Advertisement, I suppose, for the JINX Super 2 series.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. So now all the drivers have actually finished, crossed the start-finish line, finished the race. So we're just going to run through the full finishing order for you, and then we're going to grab some of the drivers involved in that. Hopefully we get a chance to speak to our first and second place at the very least, because we'd certainly like to get their perspective on what's taking place there. So Joshua Thomas, again our winner, but he didn't have it so easy this time, did he? Kobe Jones sitting there, points. It was 0.014 of a second between them at the line. Then David Coleman coming home for a well-earned third position, as mentioned. John Schultz in fourth. Aaron Gilbert, he ended up in fifth position. Benjamin Siren, he probably had the least position change of everybody. Started fifth, finished sixth. Wade Michael started ninth, finished seventh. Daniel Hedderscheid ended up getting up to eighth position with all that damage. James Ruwald, another burn from the stern for him. He finished ninth. Tony Gaffer, Jonathan Ben, Mark Duggan, Marty Hansen, Alex Court. That is your field all the way down to 14th. Then Beatty Bell in 15th, Lasseth Leonard 16th, Clay Lewis and Simon Chadwick crossing the line almost together, 17th and 18th. Brodie Scott, Tyson McAvoy, Cameron Veacock, Hayden Harrison back to 22nd position. And then we've got Wayne Taylor, Stephen Grisses, Josh Morgan. Josh Morgan did not make the ground forward that we expected him to make, ended up finishing 25th. Scott McKeon, 26th. Michael Whiting after that big impact with the wall on the front straight, finishes in 27th position. Then we got Darren Caldwell and Chris Kerr. Jamie Davis, Jacob Brewer, Adam Neal, Dean Williams, Dean Poe, Dean Albans, three Deans in a row there, Peter Hunter and Riley Curtis, unfortunately finishing 11 laps down, so not getting to the end of that race. You didn't see the safety car tonight, so nice clean race from that perspective. Anything further to add before we start grabbing in our drivers, Matt?
As you said, reverse grid race of a development series. I thought by and large the racing was really, really good. There was a couple of incidents here and there, but from my point of view, where I thought we're going to see the safety car get quite a workout tonight, I thought it was a great effort by the drivers and without a doubt the best race I've seen in this championship. And
that's actually saying something because they've been pretty good, generally speaking, up and down the field. But I don't think we've seen a battle for the lead quite that drawn out and intense. And certainly very, very special race. And I think a lot of people are going to watch this one back quite a few times because they're definitely one for the highlight reel between those two. So, without any further ado, let's get our winner up here and have a quick chat with him, Joshua Thomas, for the Fishy Racing team.
Nah, well done, Kobe. That was good.
Josh Thomas, Edward Foster here from the. Looks as though he's just jumped out again.
He's celebrating.
There's a little bit of this going on this series, isn't it? So,
He's celebrating with the boys, spraying the champagne. He doesn't want to talk to us.
yeah, well, unfortunately not. So, look, he's back. He's back. Josh Thomas, Edward Foster here in the Simshed Broadcasting commentary booth here. I don't think that there is too much I can say to add to that race and that particular finish other than to just say, talk us through it.
Oh, that was absolutely stupid. Oh, I'm actually out of breath, Dad. Oh, well done to Kobe. Good stuff on Racing Fair. Man, that was hard work. You just had to stay consistent, and he was defending really well, so it was difficult to pass him. But it was a mega race.
So talk us through the actual manoeuvre. There was a little bit of contact between you guys, nothing too significant, but just talk us through. Obviously, you had a good few laps behind Jones to try and just get a good picture of his strengths and weaknesses and everything like that. The move that you made, was it planned? Did it just present itself? Talk us through that.
Throughout, like when I caught up to him, I knew that if I just sticked in the draft, I'd keep with him. So I just had to figure out where he was quicker than me, where I was quicker than him. And I was going to have a go up over the hill, but he was pretty good into there. And a few laps earlier, I had half a crack at him down into the same corner where I made the move. And I thought, you know what, that's probably the spot. And then the actual overtake was a bit half-hearted. I went for it, and I thought, nah. And then at the last minute, I was like, I better go again. And thankfully enough, he left me the room. And, yeah, there was a bit of contact on the exit, but there was no intentions of, trying to bin him or anything like that. Like, it was accidental. That was racing. So, yeah, that's that.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, these cars have got panels on them for a reason, so we do like to see them get rubbed every now and again, especially when it's such a fantastic battle for the lead. Now, after you got past, because one of the things that we were sort of looking at in the broadcast was you were all over Jones when you were up behind him. Now, after you got past him, I know it can often be a little bit of an adjustment because for lap after lap after lap, you're basing your braking points and your turning points and everything like this off a car in front of you. But when you found clean air, we expected you to kind of extend on Jones a little bit. But in actual fact, the opposite happened and he came back at you. Can you talk us through that a little bit?
It's pretty straightforward. I was absolutely filling my DAX because I was so nervous and stupid. I knew that he was quick, and I knew the draft was very powerful around here. So I knew I think there was only a lap to go after the overtake. So I just thought I'll park it on the apex, and therefore he can't pass me up the inside. Like I said, I was all over the show. I was nervous, and yeah, there was no real talent in that last lap. It was just go slow and hope he doesn't get me.
Fair enough. Well, he didn't get you. He almost did, but he didn't. So another win for you, Josh. Fantastic work. Anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
All the Fishy boys again, awesome group of guys, and all the race coordinators, all the fellas get this running. I know it must be a big deal, and big thanks to Kobe. That was awesome. So yeah, bring on next week.
All right, fantastic. So your winner once again, guys, not as easily as he's done it the last few weeks. Josh Thomas coming home so close. What a brilliant finish between himself and Jones. And speaking of Kobe Jones, we might actually bring him up for a quick chat. And Matt, I might let you do the honours.
Kobe Jones, Matt Andrews up in the booth, mate. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here, guys.
Mate, I don't, I was sitting here thinking what I want to ask you. I don't even know what to ask you. 32nd on the grid, surprise reverse grid. You made 30 positions, and you were involved in one of the best battles I think I've ever seen on iRacing, mate. What have you got to say about that one?
To be honest, I don't have any words either. I was trying to make that car as wide as possible, and unfortunately it let go on me at the moment when it needed to stick. Yeah,
we were commenting on your beautiful driving to keep Josh behind you. You had a lot of pace, and as he just said in the chat, the slipstream was quite strong here. You were putting the car beautifully in the middle of the track. Talk us through the move that he made on you to take the lead of the race into the hairpin.
Yeah, well, I knew he had a good run out of Southern Loop, so tried to keep it down the middle of the track, but move it a bit more to the right because I knew he was closer. and he did a surprise cheeky bomb on me halfway to the braking zone. So
Yeah,
I thought I'd better turn it in, because if he's going to tag me and turn me, then he's going to have to redress, and I'd sit in front anyway.
I thought you might say that when I watched it back. Josh just commented there to thank you. He just said he appreciated driving with somebody who, such as yourself, that showed tremendous skill. But he did say in the overtake that he did a double maneuver. He went for it, pulled out for it, and then went for it at the very end. And he did mention that if you didn't have given him that space, that there might have been some contact there. So
Yeah.
hats off for that, in that regard. And but yeah, mate, amazing race. I tipped the cap to you. I mean, we commented through the race to come from 32nd to second with hardly a scratch on the car is a testament to you, and a fantastic drive, mate. Do you want to know the gap? Well, you probably know the gap.
Oh, I've seen the gap. Don't you worry about that.
100 more meters, mate, and I think you might have had it. But
yep.
100 more centimeters, maybe.
Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, just shout out to JINX Shifter, our sponsor, and also to my teammates for pushing me through it. They knew it was going to be a hard race for me, and they kept me going.
No, a supply drive, mate. You should be proud of yourself for really, really stuff to watch back here. And as Ed said, it's probably one race that many people watch many times over. Maybe not you. I don't know, but yeah, you should be proud of that. Great job, mate. Congratulations.
All right, thanks, guys.
Sorry, just before we let Kobe go, Kobe, I just wanted to get your view on the last two turns of the race, because it appeared as though there was going to be nothing you were going to be able to do. You couldn't drive through Thomas. He had his bumper in front of you, but somehow you managed to draw it back to such an amazingly close finish. So do you just mind talking us through those last couple of turns?
Yeah, so coming out of MG at the bottom there, I thought I'd try to get as close as possible, run his bumper, and then did I fake it to the inside at the last turn? I'm not even sure. But just ran his bumper all the way to the exit, and at that point, I just had to go side to side, rubbing the whole way down the straight and try and side draft him. There was nothing else I could do there apart from that.
All right. Well, it almost paid off. If they painted that start-finish line a little bit further down, it may have been a little bit of a different story, but a fantastic race nonetheless. So that is your second place getter, Kobe Jones, with his second race in this series, actually. So he's going to be one to watch as the series progresses. And now we might actually bring up our third place driver, David Coleman, who, after all of that, his fantastic work in fighting all the way up from 22nd on the grid to third place, almost got overlooked after watching that huge battle for the lead. But certainly Coleman was somebody who was making moves all the way up and down the field. So, David Coleman, welcome to the SimShare Broadcasting commentary booth. Congratulations on the third place, and give us a little bit of insight onto that fight through from 22nd to third.
It wasn't actually easy, you guys. It was a good race. I was just watching the finish then. It was a cracker. Just kept out of trouble, to be honest. That's the key, I guess, around here. So, yeah, a bit of luck in my side, to be honest. So, yeah.
Well, we saw you at the end of the race sort of trying to chase down John Schultz. And while we were watching that battle at the front, we did catch your move to get through into third place. So talk us through that one.
As I like to race, respectful racing, so I just put the pressure on, and I could tell his tyres were going pretty quick, and I was pretty lucky with mine. So I just managed to pick the right opportunity, I think inside turn one. I can't quite remember now. And he kept up with me for a lap or two, and the pressure was on, nerves when you're in a podium position, and managed to pull away and just drove comfortably home without putting it off the track.
And be honest now, was there any part of you that was looking for those two boys up front to make contact and part the seas for a famous victory?
I'll be honest, I was hoping I could come on in and do a Bradbury. So the thing is, I probably should have pushed a bit harder, because I let Kobe go first. I let him by pretty easily, and I did the same with Josh. So it is what it is. Like, I didn't have the pace, so there's no point fighting. Let him through. So, yeah.
All right. Well, fantastic drive in any case. P3, well done. And is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Obviously, thank the team, Fishy Motorsport, Mike and Josh, the sponsors, Infinity, Ignite Design, and Van Diemen Clothing. And I also just want to say what a good job you guys do. It's a fantastic series to run, and it's race control and they do a fantastic job.
All right, fantastic. Of course, this is definitely a team effort behind the scenes with all the hours that the guys in race control and the guys put into setting these races up and everything. So I'm sure they'll appreciate that acknowledgement. So your third place driver today, everyone, David Coleman.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, well, that just about wraps it up. So one thing that we didn't get a chance to do tonight, and we'll do it very, very quickly because I didn't get a chance to do it last week either. And Dave's actually disappeared, so it's got to fall on you tonight, man.
Oh, yeah, fantastic.
Track trivia.
Mm.
So, Phillip Island,
Yep.
as most people know, held the famous 500-mile race, which turned into the Bathurst 1000. Before Bathurst, it was actually held right here at Phillip Island. It ran a couple of editions and then moved across to Mount Panorama. But why did it move?
Week, can't wait. I'm going to say, why did it move? It moved because of politics. Those darn politicians. There's my stab in the dark. Something to do with politics.
It wasn't politics as such.
I'm wrong again.
It was due to the fact that back in those days, they weren't able to get the necessary heavy equipment across to Phillip Island to do hot mix tarmac. So the track was actually made of cold mix, and as a result, it broke up. So if you look at any of the pictures from that particular era, most of the cars getting around racing had all the paint missing off the front of their cars. There were guys getting hold radiators, stones flicking up as the track just literally broke apart. And by the end of 500 miles, all those cars running across it, it had pretty much turned into nothing more than a kind of stony track. Rather than any kind of anything that you'd recognise as a racetrack. So they moved it across to Mount Panorama, which had not been surfaced that long before, because of course Mount Panorama used to be a unsealed road, and then of course they've done it, and the rest is history. So that's a little bit of fact about Phillip Island.
Mount Panorama went all right after that too. I think
it has done okay, hasn't it?
It's done all right.
Yeah. All right, so that brings us to the end of the evening's proceedings. Another cracking race here for us. So I'm sure after that one, there'll be a lot of people looking forward to joining us for round 8 next week. So that's going to be absolutely fantastic as well. Yeah, well, we might get our fan vote grid off the line. We might have to talk about that. But in any case, from myself, Edward Foster, Dave Douglas, who's not with us at the minute, and of course Matt Andrews and our director JP Courier. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next week.
Good night.